And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
And it's Holy Saturday, the most somber time of the year for those of us of the Christian faith as we look forward to the Easter Vigil tonight and tomorrow, the celebration of the resurrection of our Lord and all that that entails for our life and our salvation. And so I just wanted to reflect this week on a couple of historic things that occurred during this week. First of all, the 45th anniversary of the assassination attempt on President Ronald Reagan. Those of us that remember that remember all of the charm and grace with which President Reagan faced a near-death situation, something a lot of people didn't know. And if you haven't read it, I again recommend Rawhide Down by Del Quentin Wilbur, who asked questions that nobody had ever asked before about the Reagan assassination attempt, and as such was able to write a book that really reads like a novel and is a fascinating recounting of the assassination attempt by John Hinckley on the life of President Ronald Reagan. My friend Richard Allen, who was Ronald Reagan's national security advisor, told me some years ago that Del Quentin Wilbur had asked to come see him in Denver. He said, I didn't know this guy was some police reporter from the Washington Post, wanted to ask questions about the Reagan assassination attempt. He said, nobody had ever really asked, so I figured if he's willing to come to Denver, I'm willing to give him an hour for lunch. He told me that they spent the entire afternoon together and that Richard Allen had given him papers that nobody had ever seen before because he, of course, was in the Situation Room on that tumultuous day. So it really is a great read and well worth taking the time for. You could probably read it in an evening. And, you know, Ronald Reagan broke the Tecumseh Curse, something that's very interesting historically. And as a quick reminder, the Tecumseh Curse was put on the head of William Henry Harrison, who defeated Tecumseh and his tribe at the Battle of Tippecanoe. You remember Tippecanoe and Tyler too was the slogan of the William Henry Harrison campaign for the presidency. Interestingly, nominated in Harrisburg, PA, my hometown now, and the shortest-lived presidency of all time because he went to the inauguration, which was held in March in those days, without wearing a top coat or anything to protect him from a really nasty storm. He contracted pneumonia and died 30 days into office. So the Tecumseh Curse goes like this. William Henry Harrison's election was in 1840. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected president, assassinated by John Wilkes Booth at Ford Theater. In 1880, James Garfield became president. He, too, was assassinated by Charles Guiteau. In 1900, William McKinley was elected. He was also assassinated. In 1920, Warren G. Harding was elected president of the United States. He died under very unusual circumstances while in office, some say poisoned by a jealous wife, but we won't get into that today. In 1940, Franklin D. Roosevelt became president, and he stayed in office long enough to die therein. In 1960, John F. Kennedy was elected president. He was shot in Dallas. And in 1980, Ronald Reagan became the president of the United States. He broke the Tecumseh Curse. But if you read Rawhide Down, you'll realize it really wasn't by much. So thank God for the life and work of Ronald Reagan, who survived the Tecumseh Curse. And two other memorable historic items this week. First of all, the anniversary of Villanova's first national championship in basketball, defeating the Georgetown Hoyas in one of the greatest college games of all time, one of the biggest upsets ever as the Villanova Wildcats began one of three national championships, and of course, the greatest fight song, college university fight song in all of America. The Notre Dame Victory March marked its 115th anniversary this week. On more serious notes, this week, the president's address to the nation regarding the war in Iran was well received, I think. He says it's near the end. We have basically crippled the Iranians from any capacity or capability of attacking us or using nuclear weapons to destroy others. That's great news, and I think the country responded there too. The other thing, of course, was we launched Artemis II, a ship that will take astronauts, American astronauts and one Canadian, farther than humans have ever gone. past the moon. It goes as far as the 1972, the last time we went that far to the moon, and that's over half a century ago. But thank God that John F. Kennedy saw space as so vitally important, and through the years we've developed our capacity and capability in space, and now under President Trump and hopefully future presidents will continue to ramp it up because it is so vitally important. And just a quick shout out to one of my friends, a fellow Pennsylvania, former Congressman Bob Walker, who was always at the forefront of encouraging and promoting and developing space exploration and domination by the United States of America. And as we come to the end of Holy Week, and I hope it has been a blessed time for all of those of the Christian faith, and I hope that our Jewish friends have enjoyed a similarly wonderful Passover. But tomorrow, of course, marks the resurrection of our Lord. And the three greatest words in human history, He is risen. I've told the story a couple times, and I'll tell it again today, about something that happened quite a long time ago when a relatively left-wing journalist sent me a note on Easter Sunday that simply said, He is risen. And I realized in that moment that all the politics and earthly disagreements that we have go as far to the side as possible, because the message that He is risen, that He has given the ultimate price for our salvation, is so wonderfully and vitally important. It really is the greatest day of the Christian year and the greatest day in all of history. So to each of you, a blessed, wonderful, and glorious Resurrection Day. He is risen. The Lord is risen indeed, and there is nothing that could make that better than the best 60-ish seconds of your week.